We are here in Manhattan at the Public House, the ML Sports Platter. We go on the road. That's what we do. We are brought to you by Empire Federal Credit Union and Bryant and Stratton College. It is an absolute honor to run into one of the greatest Bills fans of all time. It's an honor to meet you. You're a huge part of Bills Mafia. Pinto Ron, welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
So, where's the nickname come from? How did it start?
Well, that started about 20 years ago when I had a news guy like you do an article on me, and he got the name wrong. He called me Ron. The people at my tailgate party wouldn't let it go, so anytime someone came around to talk to me, they insisted that I was going to be called Pinto Ron. I resisted it for a while, but I finally gave up and decided, okay, I'm Pinto Ron.
So I'm here this weekend. We're both going to the game tomorrow. I was actually told that you've been to 341 Bills games. Is that the number?
No, that's fake news. It's actually 406.
Seriously?
Yeah, 25 for years. I started in 1994, so this is the beginning of my 26th year.
1994, man, they were coming off of some pretty big years. What is it going to take for this Bills squad to get back to the glory days?
I think we're just about there right now. We got the core of a really good team. I think this year we're going to struggle in the first half of the season because there's too many players, especially the offensive line, that hasn't played together. The second half of the season we might be able to squeak into the playoffs.
What are your initial thoughts of Josh Allen?
I was high on Josh Allen from when we drafted him. And as a rookie, I liked what I see after he came back from the injury. And I definitely like what I see in the preseason. I'm seeing him thread the ball quite a few times where he wasn't doing that last year. So I think he's learning.
Do you know the Josh Allen chip on the shoulder story? You know why he ended up where he did and all that with the quarterback situation?
No, I don't actually.
So Wyoming recruited the hell out of Eric Dungy, who ended up going to Syracuse. Scott Schaefer and his staff, they flew in, they wowed him. They got Eric Dungy out of Oregon to come to Syracuse, and then Wyoming had to, quote, settle on Josh Allen.
Oh, too bad for Wyoming, huh? They got a good one.
What do you think of tomorrow's game?
First of all, I'll never go to a game I think we're going to lose. And I'm going to every game this year, so I'm convinced we're going to win the game. Like I said, I think that in the first half of the season, the offensive line is not going to have gelled yet. We're going to have a lot of times where we're going to be screaming at the TV or screaming at the game, something that says something like, who was supposed to block that guy? We're going to hear a lot of that type of comment in the first 6 games. But I think we're going to overcome the Jets.
How do you do it? I mean, this is over 400 games. You've been a Bills fan forever. How do you do it? Travel, sleep, hanging out with people, having beer? I mean, how do you do this?
All those things you described, doesn't everybody want to do that? It's kind of routine right now. I've got this down to an art. Tickets, people. I know everyone around here, so every time we go to a new city, I know how to find myself into this situation, at this bar right here. The hard part isn't going to the games. The hard part is the dedication, meaning you got to tell your kids, if you get married during the fall, there's a 50% chance I'm going to miss your wedding, and they know you're serious. If it's the wives, if it's your 40th birthday or your 25th anniversary or something like that, and it happens to be a road trip, well, we're going to be on a road trip. That's the whole thing, is avoiding, getting the family behind you, getting the friends behind you.
Do you live in Buffalo?
I live in Rochester, New York, about 75 miles from Buffalo.
Whereabouts?
I actually live in the city itself, Lexington and Dewey, for anyone who knows Rochester.
Yeah, Rochester's a great city. Just a couple more questions for Pinto Ron. So you can see in this Bills backers bar that there's so many fans, the passion of Buffalo. If I gave you a Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, what would happen to the city?
Geez, I don't know what would happen. The place would, I wouldn't want to have a car parked in any road in Buffalo. If they win the Super Bowl, cars would be overturned. I hate to say it, but Buffalo tends to be a bit on the rowdy side, so it might be worst case for the celebration.
All right, Bills Mount Rushmore. You can include head coach, you can include management, you can include players. Who's on it?
The whole gang from the Super Bowl years.
Kelly, Thomas, Smith.
Yeah, I'd actually put some like Freddie Jackson. He's been one of my favorite players.
On the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, Mount Rushmore. Sorry. You just got to go with the classic '94 team right now, or 90 to 90.
Really nice. So you're going Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, and Andre Reed.
Andre Reed, yeah.
No OJ.
I've actually seen OJ play. I'm that old.
Yeah.
And I kind of separate the post football OJ with the actual football OJ. So he's still one of my favorite players.
So for somebody who saw him play, how good was he, man? I mean, my God. And what a fall afterwards.
OJ was fantastic to watch. He had a really odd running style. Watch the old clips, you'll see his feet never pick up more than 3 inches off the ground until he breaks clear and does the high knee stuff. So his feet were always real close to the ground, so it looked like he was slithering. And I think that's why he could do the quick cuts, because his feet were always close to the ground. When I point that out to people, they start watching it, and that's why he was so great.
Final question for you. When people go to a Bills game, either in Buffalo or on the road, what do you hope they say about Pinto Ron hanging out with you?
All I want is everyone to have a great time and have a good time at the football game, have a good win. Basically, I want them to say, I had a great time. You know, I do a lot of things to help the tailgate party along, and I just want everyone to say, I had a great time.
Well, look, this has been an honor. I followed your story for a long time. To meet you in person, to have you on my podcast, it's amazing. Go Buffalo, baby. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, the ML Sports Platter is brought to you by Bryant and Stratton College, the Wolfen and Law Firm, and Rosie's Corner. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports, and as I always tell you, enjoy the games.